Fantastic. Okay. Welcome to part 2 of the Code Untapped, Kin+Carta Create, Flutter, Dart, Build an App series. Code Untapped, my name is Ez. I'm one of the co-founders of Code Untapped. We've also got Jason Halstead, who's my other co-founder. Code Untapped is an organization which is here to support underrepresented technologists, both develop their skills and help them build the knowledge, skill set, experience they need to create the startups and the products of the future. We're kindly joined by Kin+Carta Create to take us through part 2 of our Dart and Flutter app series. We had a fantastic session a couple of weeks ago, which was run by Swav. This week, I believe it's Roberta who's going to be leading us on our Flutter app journey today. She'll go through some of the key items and what that looks like. Andre is about to do a quick introduction to the Kin+Carta team. Just a little bit of housekeeping. As I said at the beginning, this session is being recorded, so please do try and keep your microphones on mute. Any loud sounds, you will be muted. Okay, so just giving you a heads up. All right, so over to Andre. Please do introduce us to the amazing work that Kin+Carta Created doing. Thank you very much.
Great. Let me share my screen. Give me a thumbs up if you all can see my screen.
Yep.
Wonderful. So yeah, welcome everyone to our next session, Code Untapped and Kin+Carta to Create. My name is Andre. I work for Kin+Carta. I'm an Android developer there. And I'm just going to go through a few things before we start the session this afternoon. So I'm just going to go over the housekeeping again, give an introduction to who Kin+Carta Create is, and then we're going to start the session. So just a reminder that while the main speaker is giving their talk, please mute your microphones. If you have any questions, there will be many opportunities where we will pause to allow you to have questions. You can also post any questions you have throughout the demonstrations and talks in the chat channel, or you can use the raise your hand feature available through Zoom. So let me give an introduction to who Kin+Carta Create are. So Kin+Carta, we're a digital transformation partner for the real world. We exist to make the world work better. So what does that actually mean and how does that work in reality? So we're basically a digital services connective, Kin+Carta, who work alongside 1,500 digital experts globally. So that means we have offices across the globe from Europe to Americas and Asia. What we do is we help build technology products for some of the world's biggest brands. This is just a short list of some of the agencies and brands that we've worked with, just to highlight a few that you may be more familiar with, such as Tesco and Kazoo. You may have seen more advertisement around them recently, their startup, and Marks and Spencer's. So what I'm going to do now is just showcase some of the work that we've done for some of these companies. So this is one from our portfolio. We took the national rail cards from your wallet to your smartphone. So if you ever used one of these before, you used to get like a physical card that you used to get discounted travel on national rail. And what we did is we helped that company move that over to a digital solution, mobile product that's available on Android and iOS. So this is one of our examples here. Another one we did is for a company called Yolt. They're based in Amsterdam. And what we did is we helped them accelerate the mobile innovation for your finances. So this is a finance app. It's really cool. So it basically aggregates all your financial bank accounts into one app. So you could put your HSBC, your Barclays, and your Monzo all into this app, and it will summarize all the transitions you've done in categories, and you'll be able to track your expenses through this app. And this is one of the things that we've done for a company. One last example is the Met Office. You would have seen Met Office on national TV in the morning or afternoon, given their weather forecast. What we did with the Met Office is we helped them recreate their weather service app. So on the right-hand side, you can see an example of that. We helped build that app from scratch, both for Android and iOS as well. So it gives you a nice comprehensive view of your weather forecast for your area or wherever you visit within the UK. So how do we actually do this? We work in project teams, and within each project team, we have dedicated engineers, designers, and product people. So this is everyone from your Android developers, iOS developers, testers, front end and back end people. And from designers, you have like the visual and UI and UX. And then for product, you have your agile delivery leads, product owners, sales, and strategists. And all together, we come together and build these technology products for these national and international brands that I've presented to you today. So that concludes who Kin+Carta is in a small nutshell. Please feel free to drop any questions if you want to know more about us, or otherwise check out our website. So I'm going to hand over the time to Roberta now, who's going to lead the session. Hope you enjoy, and I'll pass the time to Roberta.
Let's get started. So, spoilers. Okay, cool. Great. Yeah, so today's session is going to be on Flutter. It's an introduction to Flutter state management. So we've got 3 sections. The first one is on managing local state. The second one is on lifting state or shared state. And the third one is with dealing with different data types and timers. This might not make any sense to you right now, but hopefully at the end of the session it will. Just to note, this session is going to be an introductory session on state management. So we will not cover advanced topics such as provider, inherited widget, redux, and block. Just so that you know what the rest of the session does involve. If that is something that you're interested in, feel free to feed back to the Code Untapped team so that perhaps we could consider having a further session on that in the future. Okay, cool. So let's get started. First of all, part 1, we're managing local state. Now, here is our state definition, stolen from Wikipedia. So what is state? A system is described as stateful if it is designed to remember preceding events or user interactions. The remembered information is called the state of the system. So to make this definition a bit more relatable, first of all, we're going to describe this light switch. So, okay, so I mean, anybody on the chat, if you can unmute your microphones, simple task. What can you describe? How can you describe this light switch? What remains consistent of this light switch, and what can change from this light switch? Anyone?
So the light bulb that it controls is fixed.
The light is, what did you say? The light
The
bulb
light
it controls, yeah?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, that's true. What else?
It's binary, either 1 or 0.
Yes, absolutely. So
I
that
know,
can be like on or off, yes.
I noticed that Will has said color. Yeah.
Yes, 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 cool. Yeah, so,
Christian said dimension.
oh, dimension, yes, absolutely, yes. So, I mean, here are just a few of the of the ways you can describe a light switch here. And yeah, I mean, next up we're going to describe the car. What would you say? How would you describe this car?
Red.
Yeah. Yeah, what else?
It's a Ferrari, is that right?
Yes.
It's got 4 wheels.
Yes. What about something that changes? What's variable? What changes? What can change?
Position.
So what did you say?
It's position.
Position, yes.
I think Will said speed.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, so you know, red Ferrari, these are just a few options, moving stationary, on it, open and close, engine on or off. So yeah, so many more. But yeah, and then yeah, finally we've got the this pedestrian light.
The color of the green on red man.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
It's
What's that?
position. Position. It's,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, so yeah, again, is yeah. So these are all very good suggestions. So the reason why we're going through this descriptive exercise is just to illustrate. It's just to map this up into a object and just try to understand the concept of state. So our pedestrian light can be represented as an object, but going back to our definition of state is the system is described as stateful. It's designed to remember preceding events or user interactions. So we don't really care about the fixed fixed attributes. We only really care about the variable attributes, and it's the variable attributes that will make our state. That's what we want to record over time. And in this instance, for the pedestrian light, the what changes over time is whether the red man is on or the green man is on. And that object can be represented as, and that pedestrian light can be represented as an object, and a Flutter widget is an object that contains its own internal state. In this case, the state is going to be, is the green man on or off? So yes, how can we describe the current state? Yeah, so there are different ways that we can describe it. What color is the light, red or green? Is red on? Is green on? Can I cross? Yes or no? Can traffic move? Yes or no? So there are many different ways to describe the same thing. But the question we're going to be asking is, can I cross? Simply because we are trying to simulate a pedestrian light, and the pedestrian light's concerns are, can I cross? So we're going to move over to exercise 1. This is going to be interactive, and this is what we are going to be doing. So we will, when you press the button, the red man will change to green. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to share a link to a worksheet in the chat. And this is something that you can all follow along. So just going to open up the Zoom chat here. Cool. So you should be able to, okay. So, yeah, let us know if you are having trouble opening the document. Can you all see it? Is anybody?
I didn't see it in the chat, Roberta.
No, nor do I.
Oh, sorry. You know what? I know what I did. Sorry about that. I know exactly what I did. Sorry. It should be everyone. Okay, try now.
Oh yeah, we get it. Yeah.
Cool.
So guys, before we move on, is everybody comfortable with what Roberta's just explained, which is essentially about objects? Yeah. So just quickly to just recap. So effectively what she's done is she's described an object in the real world. Yeah. And what we're going to do, and describing objects is something that you will do in all programming languages. So this concept of being able to translate a real life object to an object which is represented in code is something that you will do across every single programming language that you come across. Yeah, and state transition over time, again, is something that you will have to build or you'll have to maintain in all languages. So what she's teaching you here is something that these aspects of what an object is and its state changing over time is something that's common to all programming languages. But what Roberta's now going to do is describe that in the context of Flutter and a Flutter app. Okay.
Cool. So does everybody, or is anybody still struggling to open the worksheet? Okay. I will. Okay, so I will take the silence as a no.
Go.
Let's go. Okay, cool. So yeah, the first thing that we should do is just set up. So last week's session went through setting up Flutter on your machine and creating a list app. So what we're going to do, so if you went to last week's session, then you should already have Flutter on your machine, and all you need to do is, we've got the steps here as a reminder for creating a new project and running the project. If you didn't go to last week's session, then what you can do is you can use Dartpad, which I'm just going to just show here, which essentially runs Flutter on the web. It's similar to if you use like CodePen, for example. It's very similar. So if I select the counter from the drop down, and then I click run, so, yeah, and then yeah, we've got the starter. The main reason why you would tend to use the use a code editor rather than Dartpad is because the code editor does have better autocomplete and IntelliSense. I mean, with Dartpad, you've got basic autocomplete for like color, for example, but you know, if you want to get more information about you know, what properties are in my homepage, then yeah, you're not going to get in Dartpad. So I am going to be using Visual Studio Code for this, but you can use any editor that you feel comfortable with. Cool. So yeah, is that okay? Is anybody having Does anybody have any questions around this? Okay, I take the silence that everybody's okay. Cool. Great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just create a new project. So, oops. CD. Yep. And then I'm just going to create a new, what I'm going to do is just going to create a new project. So Flutter, create, call it traffic lights. And yes, creating my project, all done. And it should exit the process right now. There we go. That's fantastic. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the project in Visual Studio Code. So just going to open folder and here we go. I am going to use the inline terminal as well. So, yeah. So what I'm going to do, just going to, you can access your terminal by just doing terminal, new terminal here. And then I do not have, there's one thing that I haven't done yet, which is to open up my emulator. You can use a real device if you've got one connected, but for the sake of this session, I thought it would be easier to show you an emulator. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open up, sorry, I'm just going to open up Xcode. Yeah. And I'm not going to open up a project. I'm just going to go to the Xcode here, Xcode menu, and then open Developer Tools Simulator. What I would quickly do is also show you how to do it for Android Studio as well. So if we open up Android Studio, there we go. So many windows. Cool. Again, you don't have to open a project. Just click on Configure, APD Manager. You should have some virtual devices if you attended last week's session. Otherwise, you can create a virtual device here. I'm not going to do that right now. And again, just for speed, you might want to go to Dartpad while you get the emulator up and running. So yeah, but that's essentially just a bit of a recap as to last week. Cool. So I've opened up my emulator. I'm just going to quit this. Okay. And I've opened up my project. Cool. I've got my default main app with the counter, and then just run Flutter run. I'm explaining a lot, so if you feel like you want to go ahead and just do the rest of the exercises at a faster pace, if you feel comfortable, then by all means. But then otherwise, you can feel free just to follow along with me. So, also tell me if I am going a bit too fast. Yeah, if so, then, you know, happy to repeat, happy maybe to slow down and explain things, or if you don't feel comfortable, feel free to privately message one of the other coaches. To stop me from going back and forth, I'm just going to adjust this window here. Cool. Yeah, so we got our default. Yeah, so we got our default app here. Cool. So for this exercise, there is a starter code already. So if you just follow the link here, this is in Dartpad. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy everything and copy the starter code and then paste it in Visual Studio. Going to paste this in Visual Studio and then do a hot restart. So that is Shift R. And then we've got our starter code here. And, you know, just, so what have we got right now? Both lights are showing, it's non-functional. Let me just make some more room here and just explain what's going on. So we have a container here for the circle. We've got a container here for the circle, container here for the circle. And to make it a circle, we're using box decoration. Make the shape, to make the shape a circle. And that's a nice little trick. And then inside the circle, we've got a child. We're using the person icon just to represent the green man and the red man. And then here we're using understand where we are right now. Is there anybody that doesn't understand?
I'll just take it as a yes, Roberta. If anyone's got any issues, please put your hand up or ask the question in chat. Otherwise, Roberta, please just carry on going.
Okay, I'll do that. Cool. So next up, let's see what we've got to do next. All right, so next up on the worksheet is create a static variable called isSafeToCross and use that to hide the green man. Yeah, so going back to state, you know, we now know what it is. We now know what our state is going to look like. And, you know, so going back, you know, is it safe to cross? Yes or no? So how this works is that every time a state variable changes or a property being passed down, which we'll get to later, changes, then the component, sorry, then the widget will re-render, will rebuild, and the but the state will remain the same for the amount of time that the pedestrian light is loaded. So yeah, let's go on and make this functional. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add for is safe to cross, and I'm just going to make it false for now. Cool. And then what we can
Sorry,
do.
do you want us to be typing along as copying you in our main.dart?
Oh yeah, absolutely. If you want, yeah, feel free to. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Feel free to. Yeah, definitely copy along as we go along. As I type. Cool. So just added is safe to cross, and then just going to add some logic. So I'm going to use a ternary operation here. So if it is not safe to cross, then we show the red man. Otherwise, we can just show null. We could just return null. So that's that. And then we do the inverse here. If it's a safe to cross, then we display the green icon. Otherwise, null. And then because there is a state change, just going to do a hot restart. And there you go. And
Roberta, do you want to just touch on what you just did there? Because I think some people are going to be a little bit lost by the change you just made.
Yeah,
Exactly.
sure. Yeah, sure. So what I've done is I've added a new variable here called is safe to cross. And variables here are actually part variables defined in our state class, our state widget, well, the state class part of the widget is part of our state. Whenever is safe to cross changes, then build will execute. And then you can think of this as a snapshot. So it will create a new snapshot where, okay, this is this, what did I say? Is safe to cross is false. Oh, is safe to cross false. So in my snapshot, I'm going to be showing the red man. Oh, but in this instance, is safe to cross. Oh, it's true. Okay. So I'll be showing the green man. So here, and then, yeah, so here we've inverted the condition so that it's safe to cross. So that because it's safe to cross is false, this is true. And then we show the red man. Otherwise we show, in this instance, we're just using safe to cross as it is, and then we're showing green. And we can, if I change it to this value to true, performing hot restart, and you can see that it is now green. So there's no action at the moment. We haven't done anything with the button yet. This is simply just one state, one snapshot at this point in time. What we want to do is the next thing that we want to do is we want an action to trigger a state change. So just going to, yeah. So next thing, add functionality so that when the button is pressed, we hide the red man and show the green man. So, yeah, so what we're going to do that is I'm just going to show you what not to do. Just going to make it red again because it's red initially.
Sorry, Roberta, just for the sake of people at home, I'm actually following along, and you know, I'm not a Dart or Flutter dev myself. My background's in .NET, Java, and C#. And I think just to touch on what you did there, I think it's really interesting. So you took an icon and you added a state to it, right? In essence, is what you've been able to do.
Yes, yes. I'm using the state to determine whether to show the icon or not.
And that automatically renders on the screen dependent upon what that icon is set to. But currently, we're not actually resetting that state, are we?
No, we're not, no.
Brilliant. And these are all objects that are held within that container, which are held within the container, which are maintained within that column layout.
Yes, it is, yes. Yeah, absolutely. So everything here is in our pedestrian light widget. And then going back to last week, here is where we have our main application code. Cool. Okay, so yeah, currently it's the red man. And what we're going to do is that when we press the button, it will change. So yeah, what would be the first thing to come to mind? The first thing to come to mind is that, oh, okay, we've got our is safe to cross. We want to change it from false to true when we press the button. So I'm just going to set that to true. Cool. And then just going to restart. Great. I'm going to press the button and, oh wait, it's not working. It's not working. So why is it not working? The reason it's not working is because the state only changes when you tell it to. And this is useful because sometimes you might want to change a variable and not have the state update if you want to change something in the background. But in this case, we do want to change the state. So what we can do is we can call set state. And yeah, actually, this would actually work as it is because that's a weird Flutter quirk. But for best practice, it's best to keep any variables that are going to change as a result of set state inside of set state. It's just good practice. Cool. So just going to I did a hot restart. Did I do a hot restart? Just do one again. Capital R. Cool. Now if I press cross, it changes to green. Cool. So that is our first part. Before we finish, I just want to do one more thing. So it's generally good practice not to define your functions inside of your what you're returning. And the reason is because every time you make a change, this gets called again and again and again. And then especially, this is fine because this is a very, very simple function. But then if you've got a very, very long, complicated, well, not necessarily complicated, but if you've got a very long function, then it does add up over time. Maybe one might not be so bad, but having too many functions inside of the build function is generally, or that's being returned, is generally not a good idea. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to do a cut and paste actually, so that you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to cut all of this and then paste it here. And I'm going to make a new function. So I'm going to do void. I'm going to call this onPressed again. Cool. Okay. So now what we've got here is, I don't know why auto format's not working. It normally does. I've got syntax errors, of course, because we need to set this. So yeah, we've got our onPressed function here. And I mean, what you can do is you can do something like onPressed. So when you click onPressed, then you can invoke onPressed and it will work. But because you're already returning a function, because onPressed is expecting a function rather, then you can simply just do this. This is just shorthand. If you don't remember all of this straight away, don't worry about it. I mean, you can keep functions within within your widget tree until you get used to building Flutter apps or with Flutter code. This is just practice. Yes.
Can I ask you to make a quick change? You see where you've got your set state, yeah, where you're setting the state of is safe to cross, yeah. Can you change what, instead of having equals true, can you just set it to equals not is cross?
Yes, you can do that. Yes.
And just to see what happens if we do that, just say, so just change true to just not, is cross.
Yes.
Yeah, and then run that and then just test it. And now I'll click the press to, so every time you,
Yeah.
So every time you press it, go on, you can explain that.
Yes. Yes, sure. So, so the reason we're doing that is because what it's doing is that it's just setting the opposite of the current value. So, because it's a Boolean, and because of this exclamation mark inverts or reverses the Boolean, then we're just setting it safe to cross to the opposite. So if it's true, then it'll be set to false. If it's false, then it'll be set to true. And then that is what is happening here. So whereas before, you press to cross and then it will change to true, and then that's it. Any other further presses will remain at true. This one will change it from green to red to green to red again. Yeah. Cool.
So guys, that's a nice little trick there. If you're controlling a widget, and you want to actually change the state. So that widget could be anything. That widget could be invoking the camera on your phone or something like that. So, you'd click the button, it sets it to the opposite of what it is now. And then the widget will either pop up or close. So that's a little trick that developers always use to control widgets that either appear and disappear. Yeah.
Cool.
Roberta,
okay, that's great.
Roberta,
Oh, yes.
Can you kindly show me your widget build code again?
Yes,
I just want to see where you put the Where did you put the is safe to cross? Is it just okay?
Oh, sorry. Here. Yes.
Yeah. Into the widget build. Yeah, scroll down there. Right? Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Is that the only bit by the child? Is that where you have the is safe to cross?
It's one for the red man and one for the green man.
Right. Okay. Because I'm getting error. Okay, I'll try that again. Cheers.
Okay.
No problem. On that, Roberta, do you mind just showing us your raised button just quickly?
Yeah, sure.
There we go.
Yeah, so this raised button, so this will just draw, at the moment, we've got a theme set in our parent, in the My App widget. So raised button will just take from the theme, but we can edit it with how we please. Cool. And yeah, actually it's worth mentioning that this is taking common elements from material design. So if you're an Android user, especially, you might see a certain aesthetic, which is actually. Sorry about this. Cool. Yeah. So this aesthetic here, material studies. These are case studies. But actually these ones kind of deviate a bit from that. Let me just go back to the search results. Cool. Yeah, you see it's this type of aesthetic here.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this is a good example. So all of these are good examples of what you would consider to be a this is really, so material design Google this is a set of brand guidelines by Google that is commonly used in Android applications and in Flutter. It's worth noting that Flutter does have an iOS aesthetic, an iOS theme as well called Cupertino. But most of the examples that you see are going to be using material, and also the material widgets in Flutter are a lot richer. But it's worth noting that even though it's a popular Android aesthetic, you can use it for both Android